Chapter 1. My father, Rabbi Shaul Kaplan, was a short, stiff-shouldered man with flat, sad eyes and a high forehead that faded into a bald pate. Like all Yeshivish men, he dressed in a dark suit, white shirt, and black fedora. When we picked through the laundry heap, looking for clean underwear, we would find his sleeveless undershirts and his worn boxers, translucent from too many washes. There were eventually 11 of us: Goldie, Shandy, Elisha, Chumi, me, Dina, Morty, Buri Tzvi, Dove, Yankee, Miriam. We were each 2 years apart. We had big brown eyes, olive skin, pixie chins, and wildly distinct personalities. We called our father Tati. Because we were Yeshivish, we didn't speak a fluent Yiddish like the Hasidim did, but our English was sprinkled with a few words in that language, when English could not do justice to a concept. My father had called his own father Dad, but as a child I was not critical enough to reflect on the discrepancy between the little I knew of his history and his insistence that our way of life had always been as it was. Our 3-story home sat on the bottom of a hilly street in a quiet residential area of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. On Thursday morning, a few hours before Passover would begin, I was standing in my favorite spot, behind the open kitchen door, where my mother hung my father's clean shirts that were waiting to be ironed. All of his shirts were white, collared and buttoned down, but they were not all the same. Some had a checked pattern of shiny white-on-white thread. Some were transparent with wear. Most, however, had hard stays inserted into the collar, 2 sharp, oblong pieces of cardboard on either side of the neck. My favorite activity at age 9 was to stand behind the open door, right index finger thrust backward in my mouth, sucking hard, left hand on a collar stay. I'd run my thumb and finger around the edge, bend the cardboard, relishing the dig of the pointed end into the fleshy part of my thumb, and flip the stay while it was still in its pocket. My father, busy with prayer, teaching, lecturing, and counseling, was rarely home. As with God, I treasured him through his rare artifacts. As the ultra-Orthodox rabbi of the largest semi-Orthodox synagogue in western Pennsylvania, my father devoted his life to bringing his congregants closer to God by urging them to leave their modern Orthodox ways and embrace God's true will, the Yeshivish lifestyle. At this, he was successful. Over the years, congregants exchanged knit kippahs for black hats and delicate hair doilies for heavy wigs. Our house sat kitty-corner to the synagogue, so in the summer, with the windows of the sanctuary cantilevered ajar and our small bathroom window open, I could hear Kaddish while sitting on the toilet. Whenever this happened, I'd have to clap my hands over my ears. As an observant Jew, you could not hear Kaddish and not respond, "May his great name be blessed, forever and ever." But you also could not speak of God in the bathroom. Men prayed in the synagogue 3 times a day, but women went only on Saturday and holiday mornings, and even then their attendance was not required. So while my father spoke to God from a cherry-wood throne beside the Holy Ark, overlooking 1,000 pews, my mother murmured quick morning prayers hidden behind the kitchen door. I was unusual as a child in that I preferred to sneak away on Friday night to sway along to the songs that welcomed the Shabbos. I loved to feel goosebumps prickle my arms as the languorous Lecha Dodi changed halfway into a rollicking tune, almost as much as I loved that moment when the service ended and the room emptied and I could walk through the men's section as if God's home was my own. I would wait on the side as my father put away his holy books and offered some last words of guidance to his congregants. My shy stance declared that I belonged to the rabbi and, therefore, to God. That morning, before Passover, I stood sucking my finger, fiddling with my father's collars, tucked out of the way, as my 2 younger brothers chased each other up and down the stairs, belting out, "Tamit, tamit, 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 besimcha," and 2 of my older sisters had a showdown over a new library book. It was a special day, And not just because